Alright, so this is another Grammar Bites presentation. So this week we're looking at pronoun case. And the example here that they're providing for us, do I need the pronoun they or do I need the pronoun them instead? So this lesson is going to be looking at pronoun case and when it's appropriate to use certain pronouns depending on the sentences that you are writing. Alright, so this presentation, as I said, will cover subjective, objective, and possessive pronoun forms. So we'll look at all three of those. Alright, so just to kind of go over what a pronoun case is, and we'll actually look at an item in this next slide that will cover what an example of a pronoun case would look like on a test. So before we do that, let's look at this sample. So it says, Stan and I offered to help move the furniture, but the new residents rolled their eyes when they saw that us two had skinny arms. So if you look at this, which one of these have the problem? Is it Stan and I? Is it there? Or is it us? I'll give you a second to answer that. And if you look at A, B, or C, and you chose we is the problem, you were correct because us needs to be we, and that's an example of a pronoun case error. Alright, so let's move on. First thing we're going to look at is subjective pronouns. So subjective pronouns forms includes things like I, you, she, he, it, we, and they. Subject pronoun functions as the subject of a verb. So for example, me and Meredith threw mashed potatoes at Henry. Me threw mashed potatoes? I don't think that necessarily works here. So we have to switch it up. Meredith and I threw mashed potatoes in order to have the correct subjective pronoun. Alright, let's look at objective pronouns. Alright, forms includes me, you, her, him, it, us, and them. An objective pronoun functions as a direct object, an indirect object, or object of a preposition. An example here, just between you and I, Stevie shouldn't try to kiss Grace with spinach in his teeth. So what's wrong with that? Right, it should be just between you and me. So after preposition like between, you always have to use the objective pronoun. So in this case, objective pronoun says instead of just between you and I, it has to be you and me. Alright, let's look at the third type. Direct versus indirect objects. To find a direct object, use this formula. Subject plus verb plus what or who. And that'll give you the answer of the direct object. Now, the indirect object is whoever, whatever receives the direct object. Whatever is receiving that action is the indirect object. Alright, so let's look at this. Crystal gave Stevie a toothbrush before the kissing began. Crystal gave what? Toothbrush, in this case, would be the direct object because that's the recipient of what was given. This toothbrush was given, so that's the direct object. Alright, so who received it? Stevie, so he would be the indirect object. Alright, so keep that in mind. Direct object is subject plus verb plus what or who. The indirect object is whatever or whoever receives the direct object. Alright, let's move on. So it always says, always use objective pronouns like him and it to replace objects. Crystal gave him it before the kissing began. Alright, possessive pronouns. Forms include my, mine, your, yours, her, hers, his, its, our, ours, their, and theirs. Possessive pronouns do not require an apostrophe. Adjective forms do not agree with the nouns that follow. When Johnny stepped to the plate and hit a home run, we rubbed our eyes in disbelief. Your, her, our, and their are adjectives. Yours, hers, ours, and theirs are nouns. So there is a difference depending on how it's used in a sentence. Alright, let's look at a couple examples. Alright, so here's the test. So here's where your answers are going to come in your Google Drive form. So each one of these tests you're going to try to figure out. So here are the directions. In items that follow, choose option that corrects an error in the underlying portions. If there's no error, choose no change is necessary. All right, so let's see what you know. Here is number 1. So you're going to read that and then choose the answer. Here is item 2. Item 3. Question or item 4. Item 5. Item 6. Item 7. Item 8. Item 9. And the last one is number 10. Alright, so that pretty much concludes this Grammar Bites presentation. You will have a quest that will continue on discussing these pronouns cases in class in no red ink. So if there's something confusing or something you don't understand, you also get another opportunity to practice this on the quest. And always feel free to ask me any questions and we'll sit down and talk one-on-one. Other than that, see you next time. Have a good evening. I hate how this doesn't